No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Alright guys, well while I wait on that stuff to come in, I was going to put the heater core back in, but I realized that I got to get the shifter cables through the floor, so I think I'm going to pull it back out real quick, and I'm going to go through this. There's a hole right here already for this O2 sensor cable, so I think I'm just going to enlarge that hole and go through there with the shift cables. I think that's going to be the easiest spot for me to go through. So I'm going to pull this back out real quick so I can make that hole a little bit bigger. And then we'll get those cables through. And then I'll get the shifter all mounted up so you guys can check out what that looks like. I went with the hybrid racing shifter this time instead of the K24 stuff. It's really nice. And that's actually where I got the color scheme for everything. So everything matches the shifter. So yeah, let me grab that real quick and I'll show you guys what that looks like. Alright, here is the shifter setup I went with. Like I said, it's the hybrid racing shifter. So the reason I painted everything red on the car was to match the shifter basically. So this is the shifter itself with the base, and then this bolts to the car. So you'll use two of your existing threaded holes, the ones you use for the shift linkage, to bolt this on. And then you'll drill your own two holes and put bolts with nuts on the bottom to hold this plate on. And then this shifter goes right on top there and bolts to that plate just like that. And these are their race cables right here. They're really nice on this end. They say hybrid racing and stuff, and they're all spherical bushing. So I think what I'm going to do is I think that I can get one of these through that hole, that existing hole that's already there. If that's true, then I'll probably just drill another hole that's the same size and put the other shifter cable through. And then we'll see where we can come up into the engine bay. Most likely somewhere around this area right here, because the trans is going to be right here. So it'll probably end up working out pretty good. But yeah, let's see if we can get it through that hole first. Alright, let's see if this will go through there. Oh yeah. Yeah, it fits right through there. Cool. Alright, well that fits through there, so I'm just going to go ahead and drill with the hole saw another hole right next to it to get the other cable through. We'll go ahead and feed them through and then get the shifter mounted up. Alright guys, so as you can see, there's the two holes right there. One of them is a factory hole, the other one I just hit with a drill bit. And so this one here is going to go through this hole. Something like that. This other one's go through the other hole. Well, that worked out quite nice. And then the carpet, I just hit it with the same hole saw, and it just poked a hole right through it. So I'm gonna try to get these in a little far so I can get them up above the subframe here. Alright, cool. Yeah, well, just like that works out. Once I get the shifter box and everything in there and get these cables where they're supposed to go, I'll probably put some sealant around right here, or some grommets or something to keep the air from going inside. But let's go check out what it looks like inside real quick. But first I'm going to pull these two bolts out, because these are the bolt holes we're going to be using to go through the top to bolt on the shifter plate. Just got the hybrid racing shifter all installed. So basically just 4 bolts that go through the car, 2 here and 1 here and 1 here, and then the shifter bolts to the base with 4 bolts as well. And here's where the shifter cables go through. 2 holes that I drilled through the carpet and through the floor. And I believe that there's a bracket that goes right here, like from the dash or something. So I went ahead and went around that so I could still get that on there. And then there's 2 clips that go in here that hold the cables, and these just have like these small little C clips that you pull out, and then they have like a plastic washer on each side. So here and here, and yeah, so that's pretty much what the shifter looks like. Looks like it's gonna work out real nice. I gotta get a shift knob for it, but you can adjust here in the center 360, and then you can adjust the height right here by loosening this bolt to move this up and down. And then it's got throw adjustment. So you got 1 and 2 on this, and then 1 and 2 on this as well. I believe the instructions said that 1 is the shortest. Let me check real quick. So 1 is the longest throw available. This is an average of the lower V2 shifter positions, and number 2 is the shortest setting possible with a shift rod in its shortest position. So that'll be the shortest shift possible. So 2 is the shortest. This one's on 2. They're both on 2 right now, so it's the shortest. If I don't like it, all you gotta do is pull the same clip out of the other side, move it down, and then you're good to go. So that's what that looks like there. And cables just go through the just kind of above the subframe there and up through here, and that's what they look like out here. So once I get the motor and stuff in, I can get these on the trans, and that'll do it on those. For now, I'm gonna get them tucked up here and probably zip tie to the firewall there so they're out of the way. Actually, they stayed right there. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Boost Pie Gear. So since I'm waiting on some parts right now, I actually have a wavetrac LSD that I'm gonna put in my K series all-wheel drive trans. So I'll show you guys how to do that. If you guys have never taken a trans apart, I'll show you how to get it apart. You know what to look for, and then how to swap like the speedo gear over to the new differential, and get the differential on the trans and everything, and get it all sealed back up. So let's go ahead and do that. guys, as you just saw, I just got this trans all put back together. Well, I guess the case is not on it, but I got everything back in the trans. So what I did is I pulled the speedo ring off of the factory differential. So this is the factory differential right here. So I reused the bearings, they were still in pretty good shape. So what I did was I put 2 screwdrivers in here, lifted up the bearing a little bit, enough to get the puller under it, put something in the middle here, pulled that bearing off, and then I put the puller on the speedo gear itself, pulled that off, and then same thing on this side, pulled that bearing off there, cleaned everything up, and then I actually heated the ring up, and it literally dropped right onto the differential like you saw there. So that was that. And then I went ahead and took these over to the pressed these onto the differential using an old wheel bearing that I had over there to press on the middle here. So I got those 2 on, and then I brought the diff back over here and put the 2 gears on it. So these differentials are used for front wheel drive and all wheel drive transmissions. So they have a set of threaded holes and a set of through holes. If you're doing all wheel drive, you will use the through holes. It'll go through into the ring on the bottom for the transfer gear, and then it'll thread into those. So I got those all kind of hand tight, got the gear stacks back in here and everything to get these bolts torqued down. I actually put the trans in 2 gears, so you know, this down and this one up, and that will lock the trans together, and that's how I actually torque these bolts. So these go to 89 foot-pounds. That's what the factory torque spec is, and I go ahead and put a little bit of Loctite, red Loctite on there just in case if they try to back out, because if those do back out, it will destroy a lot of stuff in the trans. So I'm just gonna clean up this edge right here and put some sealant on it, and then there's a plastic piece goes in the case right here. So this notch right here goes down into that notch down there, and then it's got this little guide and another one over here. It goes into the case there and into the case there, so it'll kind of drop in something like this. Get those lined up, and it drops in just like that. What I like to do is I like to put a little bit of sealant in those 2 holes, so it kind of holds it for me while I put the case on the trans, because if you flip it over, it'll just fall out. So I also measured the clearance between the differential and the case. So before I put anything back together, I dropped the diff in, put the case on, put a couple bolts on them, snugged them up, and then I put a feeler gauge in between this ring right here and the top of the bearing. So Honda recommends somewhere around 3 to 4 thousandths. It was in the 3 range, so that was good there. If it was to be too loose or too tight, we would change this ring right here to a different thickness to get our measurement. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing back together, and then I'm actually gonna drag the motor over here, put the clutch on it, and then hopefully get the trans bolted to the motor, and we'll see what we do after that. Alright, just got this thing 100% together. Got the twin disc throwout bearing in there with the fork. I'm not going to put the transfer case on until I get this in the car. I got to put this pilot bearing in the flywheel, and then I'm going to put this clutch on the motor right now and hopefully get the trans on the engine. As you just saw, we just got that competition clutch twin disc on here, and the trans bolted up to the motor. Alex is getting the ugly factory header off of there. It's got all the factory bolts and brackets and all that stuff, so we're gonna go ahead and get rid of that. There's only a couple things that I gotta do to this thing before I get it back in the car. The power steering delete kit will be here next week. I gotta put that on. Probably be easier to do it while this is out of the car. I'm gonna be ordering a turbo probably tomorrow, so if they have it in stock, it should be here in about a week or so. And going back to the 64, 66 T4 is what I'm gonna do, and then the 60 mil gate. So I'll show you guys that stuff when it gets here. But that's gonna be it for tonight. We gotta work tomorrow, so we'll see you guys later. All right, guys, next day. Gonna get this AC delete on there real quick, and the post mount. And what does that mean? Slow, technically international. I'm just kidding. I know what it means. But yeah, we're gonna put all that stuff on here real quick, and then try to get this thing in the car without scratching the shit out of the engine bay. Oh, we also got to get these out. Remember I was had an awesome time getting these out. But I put WD-40 on them last night, so should be hopefully. That one looks kind of messed up, so I don't know. This big old guy right here lifted the car up, and who pushed the motor under you? Gage pushed the motor under the car right there.
Hey, supervised.
It is chicken supervised. It is on jack stand, so it's not really that heavy, but I really didn't want to jack it up, so we just lifted it up and slid it under there. But yeah, we're just gonna get this engine leveling thing on here real quick, raise it up, get these two mounts on. I can't do the back mount yet because I have to put on that steering rack piece that I ordered that's gonna take forever to show up, but let's get this thing mounted in here real quick. All right, guys, just got the engine all installed. Just with the right side motor mount and the left side motor mount. Just because I got to pull the subframe still to get that spacer in there that I ordered. So I'm not going to do the back mount yet. But I am going to swap the valve cover real quick. I got the shifter cables on here with the K-tuned bracket and their two clips. And then the two clips that hold on the cables to the selector itself. I'm gonna pull this valve cover real quick though and put my red valve cover on here, see how that's gonna look, and then I'm gonna go ahead and grab the intake manifold and mock it up on here because I really want to see what it looks like. Got that valve cover on there for mock up. There's the fuel pump provision right there. And it looks awesome inside this engine bay with all this red. What do you guys think? Can't wait for that turbo manifold to get here from Meticulous. Hayden over at Meticulous is making me a top mount for this thing. Just ordered a turbo for it today. Can't wait to get that in. So I'm gonna go ahead and go grab the intake manifold, put the throttle body on it, and then get that mucked up on there real quick. All right, here's the Gato center feed I'm gonna be using. Let's go to throttle body, 90 millimeter for that. Pull it out of the package real quick. So, it basically just bolts onto the bottom there. It's basically gonna bolt on like that, look like that on the bottom. But I thought this came with a gasket. I guess not. Oh, yeah, it does. It's right here. Sweet. I'm gonna get this bolted on real quick. Get a couple fittings in here. and bolt it onto the car. Alright guys, next day out here at the shop. This is what the car looks like right now with the intake manifold and the throttle body on it. I also got the throttle cable ran. I had to send the valve cover back to the guys that welded the flange on there for me because they welded it in the wrong spot and the pump wouldn't line up. So I sent that back. That should be back in about a week or so. This is where. So that's all I got for now. The turbo and the manifold showed up. I'll show you guys that in the next video. But also, you guys should stay tuned for the next video as well because we will be doing the grand opening of the new shop and show you guys what's going on over there. So we're pretty excited. We're probably gonna do some type of opening day, maybe like a dyno day, so you guys can check that out. So we do have a dyno now. It's fully operational. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching Boost by Gear. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. See y'all later.